Right, so let's talk about U.S. farmers, shall we? And their biggest goof since the Dust Bowl. And yes, I'm fully aware the Dust Bowl was a meteorological event, but I'm trying to make a point here. So, for the uninitiated, farmers have a very hard job. It's not a low job, it's a career with dignity and grace. It's a hard life, but most farmers take pride in that. It's often generational and a family business. It's actually a really great Dodge. Believe it or not, Dodge actually made a really good commercial for the Super Bowl a number of years back called "So God Made a Farmer." It's worth a rewatch. It's a really good commercial. I recommend it. But anyway, that said, now certain crops yield certain amounts of profit, and in today's global market, that matters, right? You're not farming for your local town. You're farming for a global scale, right? Which costs a lot more money, has a lot more work, a lot more investment, and also, unfortunately, given our current political climate, is a lot more volatile. U.S. farmers were famously selling soybeans to China hand over fist in the year of 2024, over $13 billion in sales. This year, different story. You see, when the dear leader began the tariff war, instead of being bullied like some businesses might, other whole ass countries took action. Some did tariffs in return and waged a trade war. Some got creative, like Canada, by not selling red state alcohol, while China literally took their business elsewhere to Argentina, which there's a famous global bailout, which we will talk about in a moment. And I believe Australia as well may have thrown their hand to the mix as far as like fulfilling that soybean market share, whatnot. With China no longer dependent on U.S. farmers, the damage is coming out, and it is ugly. Farmers are losing money, and it's quickly becoming apparent that they'll need a bailout. Now, this might sound like a logical turn to some politicians, right? Bail out the people who put you in power. But Trump is a special kind of stupid. Instead of bailing out the farmers, he's letting them suffer and wallow in the trade war that the master of the art of the deal created. Some might go bankrupt, some are asking for a bailout, many are most likely going to lose their farms, some of which have had their farms and their families for generations. Also, real quick question with the meme, where are y'all's red hats? Because predominantly, most of the farmers that voted Trump in, most of these farmers that are going to need a bailout, voted for this red son of a bitch. Oh, orange son of a bitch, if we're being honest. Now, all this said, it should come as no surprise that farmers voted for Trump in droves. And honestly, some part of me, like, look, this feels like a fuck around and find out situation, right? You voted for this. Y'all voted for this jackass. Long-term effects are also going to be permanent. You're losing the market. It's not a situation where you lose the market, but the second we get a new president, boom, we take it back. That's not how business works. That's not how business has ever worked. Once you lose a market share, it's hell to try and get it back. And even then, in order to get it back, you have to have competitive rates. Meaning that we're looking at some long-term suffering for these farmers that most likely the next Democratic president of the United States is going to have to fix. It's a long-term problem, right? It's like if I take a sledgehammer and I put a hole in your wall, right? Hitting your wall took me a second, right? It's not going to take me a second to fix it. It's going to take time. You need to find spackle, paint, make sure it dries properly, level it out. Like it's a process. Same thing with this. Fixing the market, it's going to take a while. And plus, if you look at it from the other side of the perspective, look at it from their position. If you went to Starbucks and they tried to screw with you while not selling you coffee, and then 9 months later the manager was fired, would you go back or would you continue to go to Dutch Bros? Like, should they be bailed out? Like, some part of me is not sure, right? I'm just not sure. Because, again, some part of me is like, you fuck about, find out. That said, there's an update when I initially wrote this. Trump is doubling the bailout for Argentina. So for the uninitiated, Argentina is currently going through a crisis. The Argentinian president is an ally of Trump, and Trump already promised $20 billion in bailout for Argentina. $20 billion that the U.S. farmers could probably really fucking use right now. In addition, from what I understand, he's actually working on doubling the bailout to $40 billion. He also stated that if the Argentinian president, his ally, loses the Argentinian election, that he will pull the bailout money, which, I mean, so we can add, like, interfering in a foreign country's election to his long list of crimes? Just, God damn it.